Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Our today's topic is about basic safety rules. Now let's dive in a topic. A standard list of basic laboratory safety rules are given below and must be followed in every laboratory that uses hazardous materials or processes. These basic rules provide hygiene and behavior safety information to avoid accidents in the laboratory. Laboratory specific safety rules may be required for processes, equipment, and materials, which should be addressed by laboratory standard operating procedures. Basic safety rules. No locations of laboratory safety showers, eye wash stations, and fire extinguishers. The safety equipment may be located in the hallway near the laboratory entrance. No emergency exit routes. Avoid skin and eye contact with chemicals. Minimize all chemical exposures. No horseplay will be tolerated. Assume that all chemicals of unknown toxicity are highly toxic. Post warning signs when unusual hazardous materials, hazardous equipment, or other special conditions are present. Avoid distracting or startling persons working in the laboratory. Use equipment only for its designated purpose. Combine reagents in their appropriate order, such as adding acid to water. Avoid adding solids to hot liquids. All laboratory personnel should place emphasis on safety and chemical hygiene at all times. Never leave containers of chemicals open. All containers must have appropriate labels. Unlabeled chemicals should never be used. Do not taste or intentionally sniff chemicals. Never consume and or store food or beverages or apply cosmetics in areas where hazardous chemicals are used or stored. Do not use mouth suction for pipetting or starting a siphon. Wash exposed areas of the skin prior to leaving the laboratory. Long hair and loose clothing must be pulled back and secured from entanglement of potential capture. No contact lenses should be worn around hazardous chemicals, even when wearing safety glasses. Laboratory safety glasses or goggles should be worn in any area where chemicals are used or stored. They should also be worn anytime there is a chance of splashes or particulates to enter the eye. Closed-toe shoes must be worn at all times in the laboratory. Perforated shoes or sandals are not appropriated. Determine the potential hazards and appropriate safety precautions before beginning any work. Determine the potential hazards and appropriate safety precautions before beginning any work. Procedures should be developed that minimize the formation and dispersion of aerosols. If an unknown chemical is produced in the laboratory, the material should be considered hazardous. Do not pour chemicals down drains and do not utilize the sewer for chemical waste disposal. Perform work with hazardous chemicals in a properly working fume hood to reduce potential exposures. Avoid working alone in a building. Do not work alone in a laboratory if the procedures being conducted are hazardous. Laboratory employees should have access to a chemical inventory list, applicable safety data sheets, departmental laboratory safety manual, and relevant standard operating procedures. Access to laboratories and support areas such as stock rooms or specialized laboratories should be limited to approved personnel only. Designated and well-marked waste storage locations are necessary. No cell phone or earbud usage is allowed in the active portion of the laboratories or during experimental operations. Clothing made of synthetic fibers should not be worn while working with flammable liquids or when a hazard is present, as these materials tend to melt and stick to exposed skin. Laboratory coats should not be stored in offices or break rooms, as this spread contaminates to other areas. Thank you very much. Like, share and subscribe my channel Science Kick. Allah Hafiz.